Hey, what's going on, guys? Kitsune TCG here, back with another deck list, and today I thought I would show off my Voiceless Voice branded deck. I really love this version, actually, especially with Tenpai now in the format, and just a few other decks that either main or side shifter. I think the branded version actually does give you a little bit of something that you can do to kind of play through it, or just at least have some form of end board. So let's kind of start off with the main deck here. I do have the 3 low, 3 Saphira, 3 Diviner, the 1 Ceravis, the 1 Trius, the 2 Skull Guardian, 2 Ceravis, 3 Barrier, 3 Pre-Prep, 2 Prayers, and then the 1 Radiance. Honestly, I think this is pretty standard ratios. You could maybe cut down pre-prep if you wanted to go down to exactly 40 cards. It is a 41 card list, but I mean, it's just a helpful card overall, so I don't think there's any reason to do that. Really wouldn't change anything on this front. Unfortunately, drew Ceravis a few times, so that was a little annoying, but I mean, you can still summon it from hand, so it's not the worst. As far as like the Brandon engine, it's just a small little engine. You do have the 3 Brandon Fusion, the 1 Albaz, and then I am playing the Dark Magician just because, again, like I said, if you do run into Shifter, you can send both of these. They be banished for Lubellion. Lubellion, shuffle them back, and at the very least, you have an Omni Negate in Dragoon. I really liked that. It came up a few times. I did go against Flo, Kashtira, and then even Tenpai. So, all of those decks are capable of, using Shifter. So, I thought this was pretty helpful, and it did actually win me a few games, just ending on a Dragoon. So, I really liked it. It is a bit of a brick, but at the end of the day, it is still level 7, so it can be sometimes useful if you draw it. But for the most part, I didn't see it too often, so maybe drew it like once or twice, so not a big deal overall. For hand traps, we are running the 3 Nibiru. I think this is really obviously another really good one to run in main, just because it is light, so it can also help you out with a few of your rituals, but a lot of times you're just discarding it for, Lubellion summon or, Dragoon or something like that, if you do go first. 3 Ash, 3 Valor, and then finally 3 Imperm. I did go a little bit more hand trap heavy than some of the lists where I see people kind of go more board breaker. Board breakers are totally fine. I do play Super Poly inside and like a few other things like that, so if that's something better to kind of go into, you can definitely do that. But I just kind of wanted to stop them before they set anything up, and again, it was pretty successful. But obviously there's the kind of 2 different ways that you can really play this deck. But let me just go ahead and show off the extra deck. All right, and then just quickly going over the extra deck here, we do have 2 Albion, 1 Lubellion, 1 Mirror Jade, and then 1 Dark Dragoon. This is just your kind of branded package in the deck. I think these is like fine ratio-wise. Running these 3 here as anything that can be sent off of Mirror Jade, so works totally fine there. You can maybe include another one. You do have like a little bit more of a flex spot, so if you want to go into like a Renbrum or something like that, if you think that's necessary or just want to run it, that's totally fine as well. But this worked out just fine, honestly, for me. Obviously, Lubellion is pretty important to go into Dark Dragoon, and like I said, having the ability to shuffle back from face up, banished, is pretty good, especially if you do run into like Shifter, and it, like I said, just gives you something to be able to do. From there, I did have Mud Dragon and Garura. These were my main Super Poly targets. They worked out really well. Summoned them a few times against some deck, and against particularly Fire Kings. So that was really nice, especially to get them off of like a fire with Princess. So liked having the access to that. And then we have Intis and Herald, obviously your main targets for Diviner, and then Chaos Angel. Especially since your like fusions are all level 8. just being able to go Diviner and then into Chaos Angel is pretty good. It came up a few times there and was able to kind of push for game. Almirage, Anima, Secure Gardener. This is really kind of the one flex spot. It did come up and it did actually help me out with the game just to be able to survive a turn and just not taking any damage that first go. But, you know, it's that's about it. That's the only time it never came out. So you could really kind of, you know, put that in there for another Albion fusion if you need, or really just anything else. SP and then Dynamondo. Still really liked the extra deck. I think that it worked out really well for me. But yeah, so I'm just going to quickly kind of show off a possible combo for this deck, and we'll go from there. Alright, and then just kind of quickly going over a combo here. Now this just requires, you know, 2 cards. Obviously there are a lot of different ways that you can get to your inboard and Voiceless. It's a fairly consistent deck in doing what it wants to do. But in this case, you know, you just need 2 cards. It can either be low directly or just pre-prep. We'll just assume that all we have is pre-prep and Brain Infusion. The other cards there don't ultimately matter. You can start by going pre-prep. That will get you access to Prayers and Skull Guardian. We'll go Brain Infusion. We'll send Dark Magician and Albaz. And again, you know, if you happen to have been hit with, you know, Dimensional Shifter, you can still make this inboard just because, like I said, Rebellion does obviously shuffle back from face-up banished as well. But in this case, we can just go Rebellion effect. You can discard any of the other 3 cards that you have. And then it'll just shuffle back the Albaz and Dark Magician. And go into Dragoon. So in 2 summons, we do have an access to an Omni Negate, so pretty much the rest of your turn, your plays should be protected. Shouldn't have any issues. From there, we can go Prayers. Rebellion is a light monster, so we can easily use that as tribute. Go into Skull Guardian. Skull Guardian can activate, bringing us the low. We can normal low. And then from here is really kind of like your only choice that you have to make. You can either, you know, immediately go for Radiance, and that's just going to obviously get you access to, you know, a few different things. You can either go into Cerevis if you need to, and then you have access to the pop on your next turn. Or you can go into Barrier. Probably going to go into Barrier just as well. It'll just give you some additional like attack protection. You can use Barrier. Barrier can grab you Saphira. Can send Saphira and your other ritual spell to grab Cerevis. So now we have some targeting protection. They can't obviously attack non-rituals. So you are going to be pretty well protected here. Again, against any really plays, and then obviously it just depends on what your other 2 cards are that you could either, you know, use those if you drew a hand trap, or just something to discard with Dragoon. So honestly, I really like the deck overall. I think it's really consistent. I'm excited to see, you know, how things turn out with this, you know, events going forward. But yeah, let me know down below what y'all think, especially we're entering a new format with a new set released. If you're liking it, you know, how you feel about like Tenpai, if it's meeting the expectations you thought, and just anything down below, and I will see y'all next time.